it's a real cozy night. If you're new, feel free to subscribe or don't. No pressure. Don't have to if you don't want to. Tonight, I'm going to read you a story from my Japanese folktale book. Well, I'll probably mess up a couple times. I don't read out loud a lot. And, I'm kind of taking this as an opportunity to help you all relax, but also to um, get better at reading out loud. Um, yeah, which I haven't done since like high school. So it's snowing outside right now. You won't see this for a couple weeks. But yeah, we got snow finally. They kept saying it was gonna snow and it finally did. But yeah, anyways. I'm sitting on my couch because my chair the setup that I have is starting to get really uncomfortable. The chair really hurts my back. So, yeah. And it's cozy over here with my blankets and pillows and lights and a candle. And I'm gonna watch a movie after I film this. I'm gonna watch The Gorge. Was the Anya Taylor-Joy. Just came out on Apple TV, I think. Okay, so tonight's story. I hope I'm not too far away from the microphone. And I'll probably take drink water. What did I just say? Water drinking breaks. Tonight's story is called Urashima Taro, the Fisherman and the Tortoise. Urashima Taro was a poor fisherman, but he was good and kind and young. One day, with the fishing rod on his shoulder and a few sen in his pouch, he started out to the sea to catch fish. Near his boat, by the lapping waves, he saw a group of young village children. They had caught a tortoise and had tied it up with a piece of string. They were pulling it along, and some were throwing stones at it, laughing and shouting. That's messed up. Whoops, sorry. The poor tortoise was struggling to get away. Sometimes it would hide in its shell, but the children would then pull its legs out and drag it along again. The kind-hearted Urashima ran towards them, crying, "Hey there, you children! Don't tease that poor little thing. Leave it alone." But they only laughed and behaved rudely. "What's that you say, fisherman? We caught this beast. It's ours, see? Leave it alone." "Indeed, you better leave us alone." Urashima took out of his pouch the only few sen he had, and seeing the greedy looks on the children's faces, asked for the tortoise in exchange. The little tormentors were only too glad to get the money, and grabbing it, they ran away, leaving the tortoise still tied up cruelly. Urashima untied the dirty string that was around the tortoise's legs, and, stroking its hard shell, gently said, "Don't get caught again, my little friend. Run away to your home." The tortoise turned its bright, beady little eyes this way and that, and nodding gratefully, scuttled away towards the rocks. A few days later, the fisherman was fishing far out to sea, when suddenly he noticed a little brown wet hand nosing his boat. There he saw his tortoise friend. "Urashima-san, Urashima-san, thank you for your kindness to me the other day," he said. "I've come to take you to Ryukyu, which is a wonderful place place deep down under the sea. Urashima thanked the tortoise and was astonished to see him grow larger and larger until he was almost the size of the boat. "See how big I can grow," he cried. "You sit astride my back, Urashima-san, and I'll take you there." So, Urashima, anxious to see this place and full of excitement, settled himself on the tortoise's back. Ryugu, which means Dragon Palace, was a wonderful place in the depths of the sea. Urashima had heard of it, but no one he knew had ever been there. So you can imagine how pleased and happy he was to be able to go. He had heard also that a beautiful princess who never grew old lived there. The tortoise swam on and on, then plunged deeper and deeper into the sea. Urashima saw weird-looking grass waving this way and that. Fish that he had never seen before darted in and out. When he came near the palace, yet other kinds of fish came to greet him. Then he saw from the entrance facing him rows of pretty sea animals holding lanterns to greet him. The palace was like a dream. It was a wonderful building. The magnificence of it quite took Urashima's breath away. The tortoise swam through the rows of lanterns, to the entrance to the great portals opened wide, but Urashima's eyes were fixed in wonder on the beautiful princess standing there to greet him. There she was, erect and slender. Her glistening black hair was beautifully drawn upon her head. Her dress was made of a material unknown to him. It looked soft and shimmery and floated in graceful lines around her. She was indeed lovely beyond words. She held out her hand graciously and smiling, said in a sweet voice, "Dear Urashima, you have been so kind to my tortoise. Thank you, Urashima. Wouldn't you like to come into my palace and spend some time with me?" Urashima felt so happy. His heart was beating fast. He had hosts of fish servants to wait on him. In his room, a beautiful suit lay ready for him to put on. After a short time, the poor fisherman emerged a handsome young man. The princess was waiting for him. She took him to the great banquet hall and showed him all the wonders of sea life. He had everything he ever wanted: delicious food, clothes, and a bevy of servants. And the sea folk entertained him so well that Urashima had no idea how fast time was going. He spent day after day entranced by the beauty of his hostess. Month after month and year after year slipped by. I apologize, my loud neighbor is upstairs. But Urashima never forgot his home or his friends or his dear country. There came a time when a shadow would cross his face when he was thinking of them, and the princess, who was quick to see all that went on, noticed it and asked him what it was that made him look sad. "Oh, dear princess, I'm thinking of my old friends in my home," said Urashima in a low voice. "I cannot forget them, and often I think that it's time for me to bid you farewell." It was hard for Urashima to leave the beautiful princess, but she gave him a sweet smile and said simply, "I understand, Urashima. You are lonely away from the people of the upper world. It is better for you to return to them." So Urashima bowed gratefully and went into his room, where he pulled out his old fisherman's clothes. The way they looked and their smell made him long all the more for the upper world, so changing into them, he quickly went to the princess to thank her and bid her farewell. She received him graciously, and in her hands held out a black lacquer box, saying, "Urashima, I give you this box. You must carry it wherever you go. It will prove to be a great treasure, but never open it. Never, never open it." Urashima looked at the princess, and he saw an expression of regret across her sweet face. Her heart was heavy with sorrow, at parting from her, but he could not help doing so. He bowed silently and walked away toward the faithful tortoise, who was to take him to his home. So Urashima left the palace miles and miles down in the sea and came back to his native land. Seeing familiar scenery with a happy laugh, he jumped off the tortoise, who silently took his leave. Then, holding the pretty box under his arm, he ran towards his house. How eager and glad he was to be home. But alas, what happened to it? It was deserted. The thatched roof had fallen in. Heavy green grass grew around it. Cobwebs and dust had gathered everywhere. He was dismayed. He wandered away to other houses, but everywhere he went, the houses and strange streets were unfamiliar, as well as the faces. All his relatives and friends had disappeared. Everybody looked at him curiously and laughed at his old-fashioned dress. But don't you know Urashima? Urashima, the fisherman? Isn't there anyone that remembers me? He cried in despair. Ah, said the old man, coming forward slowly. I have heard that in olden times there was a youth of that name living here. There's a fantastic story of a certain Urashima who went riding into the sea on the back of a tortoise. But hundreds of years have passed since. Poor Urashima gave up all hope and found himself wandering aimlessly along the seashore. Then he remembered that he was still holding the box. I have nothing left but this, he cried. I will open it, though I have been forbidden to do so. So, sitting down on the beach, he lifted the lid. A column of smoke rose out of the box, completely surrounding him. Before he knew it, he had turned from a gay young fellow into an old, white-haired man. Urashima, I am sorry to say, did not meet with a happy end, since he had not kept his promise to the princess and could not find the faithful tortoise to guide him back to the palace under the sea. He had to spend the rest of his life by himself, a very lonely old man. Well, that was depressing. And that's that one. I don't remember any of these stories being super depressing, but that one was kind of sad. But he shouldn't have opened that box. He told her not to. Or she told him not to. And he didn't listen. And you don't mess with magic. But yeah, I hope that you're all doing well. And thank you for hanging out. And yeah, have a great night, morning, evening, and a great time in general.